Lintendo! Hello everyone, it's been a really long time. My name is Josh from Lintendo channel. Welcome back to another video. Today is not a typical gameplay video. We are going to be fixing my friend's Nintendo 3DS. Basically, it was just an old 3DS that, again, he messed around with, and eventually the hinge broke off. He didn't ask me to fix it, but I was like, hey, I offered to fix it, so here we are. Let's get into it. When you open up the 3DS, you'll see that it won't be able to like go into the first angle mode, and that's due in part because the hinge is broken. And as you can see right here, the hinge is just completely gone, and you can actually take that part off of the 3DS. So here we are, just kind of examining the damage. So I look in here, and there's the SD card, 16GB SD card. And we're just making sure and just checking to see if it's completely working, just in case. Yeah, so now let's get back into this repair. Alright, so first things first, we gotta get the parts for this, and you're gonna need basically one of these little hinge parts. It's the top half 3DS part, and you can probably find it on eBay for relatively inexpensive. First things first, just get the 4 screws in the back, and you need a Phillips screwdriver, and that's the only thing you'll need, really, and maybe some tweezers. That's about it. Once you get those 4 screws off, you can take that back battery panel off. This particular panel was kind of tough to get off, but eventually I got it off. Remove the battery. Nine screws, technically 10. There are 10 screws on the back here that you'll have to remove. This repair, basically, you have to take the entire 3DS apart. It is not easy to do so. In fact, it takes a lot of time to do. This actually took about 2 hours to do, and it was not easy. And if you don't know what you're doing, you could potentially damage the console, and parts aren't cheap. So just as a warning, just be careful. And don't forget the cartridge screw at the very top. Once that's out, just be very careful because there are 2 ribbon cables attached for the shoulder buttons. And they kind of pop off kind of easily, but just gotta be careful because you can in fact rip the cables. So you just gotta be careful about that. And there are about 4 screws on the left side of the 3DS when you open it up. You want to take those out. Once you take those 4 screws out, there are 2 screws that hold in the circle pad. You want to take those out. There's also 4 screws near the SD card port. Take the 2 ones that you can see. You also want to take out the circle pad, just to keep it for safekeeping so that you don't damage anything. As you can tell, there's 2 screws that you need to take out for the motherboard. And because we're replacing this whole entire bottom port, we're also taking out the screw that holds in the volume rocker. Next thing you want to do is just remove the 3 ribbon cables that connect the top from the half. It can take a little while, so you just kind of have to jiggle it out. Take out the Wi-Fi module. And then what you want to do is siphon the 3 ribbon cables plus the antenna. Next you want to do is get a sponger, or I recommend heating up the top part of the 3DS first to remove the top part of the 3DS where it reveals all of the screws. Now it is some strong adhesive, so you just kind of have to be careful about that. And there's about 6 screws at the top there that you'll need to take out. Once that top part's out, you'll have access to the little hinge, and you'll need to push that in. Next, get the new part and start reassembling. Siphon the 3 ribbon cables and the antenna through the new part. If you break or rip any of the ribbon cables or the antenna, you'll have to replace those because that actually affects the boot up process. I wasn't careful enough in this video. I ended up damaging the antenna and I had to buy another antenna so that we could get this thing working. Once you got everything together, you will need to put the hinge right back into the place. You'll need to open up on the first part of the hinge, and you can see here, you need to be in open mode so that you can push in the hinge. And now it operates. Now reassemble the 3DS, put in the buttons. Put on the rubber membranes. Put it back in the D-pad and the membrane. Here I am just putting the antenna back into place. If you don't, you'll risk breaking it. Just be very, very careful. I wasn't careful again. Using metal tweezers probably wasn't the best idea, but again, this was tiny enough and easy enough to get that back in. Reattach everything like the Wi-Fi antenna module. Reattach the ribbon cables. The top one can be a little bit of a pain, but you can eventually get it in there. Apologies for my hand, that I had a blister at the time of the recording. Next, put in the circle pad. A good way to keep the circle pad in there is to hold the circle pad in place and then put the circle pad module in place. Next, reattach the screws. Make sure and check to see that all of the buttons and membranes and circle pad are in place. Next, let's go back to the top part. Reattach the 3D slider. Put on the new adhesive top part. Clean off any of the dirt or smudges that you may have put on the top screen. Reattach the top 6 screws. Take out the adhesive. Put in the 4 screws for the SD card reader. Let's put the 3DS back together, close it up, and let's play some games. And yeah, it looks good. I managed to put some games and some custom themes on his 3DS, and it looks amazing. It looks pretty much brand new. Overall, it wasn't a bad repair. It was just a little time consuming, and I did have to buy some parts because I did break some stuff. Other than that, it looks great. My friend loves it, and he really appreciates the repair. Let me know what you guys think about this repair. Was it informative? Was it helpful? Leave a comment down below to let me know. I am planning more mod videos in the future, so please look forward to that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.